Anita Desai was born on June 24, 1937, at Mussoorie, India. She is an English language Indian novelist and author of many well appreciated books. Born to a German mother and a Bengali father, Desai grew up speaking German, Hindi, and English. She received a BA degree in English literature from the University of Delhi in 1957. The story, A Devoted Son, shows how the son of a humble and undistinguished family becomes a successful doctor, marries and raises a family, becomes prosperous in his career, and looks after his sick father till his last days. Before we go into the story, let's do a little warm up. Do children have duties in a family? Name some of them. List a few customs followed in a traditional Indian family. Can you explain the reasons behind some of these customs? Do you believe in all of these traditions? Now, as Indians, okay, be it in the northeast or in the south or in the west, we all have some customs and traditions that we follow. It might not be same for each and every one of us. It might be different, but every one of us have our own traditions, right? Now, in many of the Indian families, bowing down and touching the feet of parents means showing respect. Okay, so it can be many. So you think this for yourself and answer it on your own. All right. Now let's read the story. When the results appeared in the morning papers, Rakesh scanned them, barefoot and in his pyjamas at the garden gate, then went up the steps to the veranda where his father sat sipping his morning tea and bowed down to touch his feet. As we read the opening paragraph, we get an idea that Rakesh had appeared for some exams. Okay, so this particular morning, still in his pyjamas and barefooted, he went to the garden gate and picked up the morning papers. So Rakesh is scanning through looking for his results. And few moments later, he went to the veranda where his father was sipping his morning tea. The first thing he did when he saw his father was touching his feet, okay, bowing down to touch his feet. This is a very popular custom that is followed in many Indian families. A first division, son, his father asked, beaming, reaching for the papers. At the top of the list, Papa, Rakesh murmured, as if awed. First in the country. Okay, so after Rakesh bowed down to touch his father's feet as a sign of respect, Mr. Verma knew that something good had happened, so he asked his son immediately if he had scored a first division. Then Rakesh answered him saying that he had scored first in the country. But Lam broke loose then. The family whooped and danced. The whole day long visitors streamed to the small yellow house at the end of the road to congratulate the parents of this wonderkind, to slap Rakesh on the back and fill the house and the garden with the sounds and colors of a festival. After the results were out, tension was removed from the house. Now they celebrated and danced as if it was a festival. Okay, people came streaming to the small yellow house all day long, not only to congratulate Rakesh but his parents too. There were garlands and halwa, party clothes and gifts, enough fountain pens to last years, even a watch or two. Nerves and temper and joy, all in a multicolored world of pride and great shining vistas newly opened. So, as visitors and friends came from around the village to congratulate Rakesh, they even brought him garlands and halwa. Halwa here means sweets, party clothes, and gifts. The gifts also included fountain pens to last him for many years and even a watch or two. So mark this because the gifts that he got is very important. You may be asked in the exam. Rakesh was the first son in the family to receive an education. So much had been sacrificed in order to send him to school and then medical college, and at last the fruits of their sacrifice had arrived, golden and glorious. So Rakesh was the first son in the family to receive an education. So the hard work that they gave into forming him to become an educated person did not go in vain. The results that he had brought home was golden and glorious. To everyone who came to him to say, Mubarak Vermaji, your son has brought you glory, the father said, Yes, and do you know what is the first thing he did when he saw the results this morning? He came and touched my feet. He bowed down and touched my feet. This moved many of the women in the crowd so much that they were seen to raise the ends of their saris and dab at their tears, while the man reached out for the betel leaves and sweetmeats that were offered around on trays and shook their heads in wonder and approval of such exemplary filial behavior. One does not often see such behavior in sons anymore. They all agreed, a little enviously perhaps. As people came to congratulate Mr. Vermaji on the success of his son, Mr. Verma would proudly tell them what his son did the first thing the moment he got his result. He told them that his son Rakesh came and touched his feet. Now, hearing this, the women in the room were moved to tears, so they were dabbing their tears with the end of their saris. And the men also shook their heads in wonder for showing such exemplary filial behavior. Here, filial means respect for parents. Now, they were surprised to know that Rakesh bowed down and touched the feet of his father. This is a very uncommon thing these days. Children do not show much respect to their parents anymore. So, this is why the guests were moved to tears. They were touched by this behavior that Rakesh showed towards his parents. Leaving the house, some of the women said, sniffing, At least on such an occasion they might have served pure ghee sweets. And some of the men said, Don't you think old Verma was giving himself airs? He need not think we don't remember that he comes from the vegetable market himself. His father used to sell vegetables and he has never seen the inside of a school. But there was more envy than rancor in their voices, and it was, of course, inevitable. Not every son in that shabby little colony at the edge of the city was destined to shine as Rakesh shone, and who knew that better than the parents themselves? Not everyone that came to congratulate Mr. Vermaji on the success of his son was happy. There were many people who were jealous. Okay, some of the women on leaving the house commented on the food that was served, saying they could have served pure ghee, this and that. And some of the townsfolk also worry that this will make Rakesh proud, conceited, and forget where he comes from. So they pretend to be very happy, but they were talking about them at their backs. This is a very bad human behavior.